We are back, Be Different podcast. I've been trying to get started early, but Greg Wichard, for whatever reason, whenever I try to get started, has something he has to say. So, Greg, thank you for allowing us to finally start.
You're full of shit.
Because we have lacing up with Leonard. We are lacing it up all the way with Leonard, and instead of Wednesday, we are shooting this on a Friday morning. There were some scheduling conflicts. And I'm looking for we have a bunch of guests coming in the next few weeks as long as Greg allows.
I love how it's scheduling conflicts and like mishaps when it's your shit, but like we're all of a sudden Greg says, "Hey, we should start rolling," and then it's his fault.
I think Brad would have talked about websites for another 30 minutes if we hadn't interrupted.
I'm a big website guy. I always have been.
Websites almost done?
Leonard Stokes. Sorry, we got taken to another place, but it's great to see you.
Always a pleasure. We're all good.
That hoodie's great.
Yeah, where'd you get that shirt?
Can you disclose where you got that?
I mean, I don't blame you if you hide it. Is it H&M? Hopefully it's not H&M.
No, it's not H&M. Definitely not H&M. It's not H&M.
Let's just disclose. Well, it was from H&M, but it's not from H&M anymore.
It's not from H&M anymore. As of last week, it's not from H&M.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, that was good.
Your Bearcats, Leonard, they're doing okay.
Yeah, we got off to a couple slow starts in a couple of the games, but I mean we bounced back, had great second halves, and we were able to pull them out.
So they are right now first in the American, and they're all alone at that top spot because Wichita State, they lost at home to SMU actually quite convincingly.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati blew out SMU at home by 20. Now I got to talk to you about the first half of the UCF game because it was rough. It was rough. So the final score ended up being 49-38. The football score was UCF 51, UC 23. So close parallels right there. almost about the same score, but in the basketball phase, Cincinnati, they did win the game. But just 15 points in the first half. For the game, UC 19 of 53 from the field. UCF was worse from the field. They were 15 of 50 from the field. UCF didn't have a player score more than 7 points in the entirety of that game.
I mean, it's defense. I told you we're gonna play defense this year. we let the guys down. Great defense by our guys, and I think first half I think we had more turnovers than field goals.
Man,
The first half was one of the ugliest things I've ever watched in my life. It was really bad. The only thing I could tell was that Taco Fall is still huge.
I mean, Taco Fall is gigantic.
Yeah.
What is that guy?
7'6".
7'6"?
He's
Yeah,
huge.
yeah,
I was at the
7'6".
game at Fifth Third last year. I mean, the largest, tallest person that I have ever seen him. I mean, he is. Were you at the game last year to see how tall this man was?
I was, and the thing is, I'm pretty tall, and when I stand next to some of the guys, Kyle Washington, some of those guys are taller than me, and that guy makes those guys look short.
I mean, he's a foot taller than those guys.
Yeah.
Legit, a foot tall.
I mean, it's
Does he get time in the NBA? Does he get he'll get an opportunity. He's got such amazing size, and I was impressed with him. He's more mobile than what I thought he would be.
Yeah, he's mobile, but I think he's gonna just at that height with the way the game's played now. I think he's going to be put in a lot of pick and roll situations, and that's going to be extremely tough for him.
UCF hides him a little bit down in the lane.
Down in the lane. Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Oh, is that Greg?
Yeah, he's got a great field goal percentage. I mean, he shoots like
yeah, because he doesn't shoot any. What do you mean? He just drops it in the bucket,
the
right?
guy's 7'6". I don't even think he has to jump.
He does.
He just like drops it.
He doesn't.
hey, 77%, that's pretty good. I'd say.
Shooting 77%
I mean,
from the floor.
You were looking at 77% on your computer now, and it looks like the number is like eating up your face. You have this weird grin, like you're so happy to see it. It's so weird.
That's like I was okay with that. That if I would got that on a test in college, I'm like, sweet.
77.
All right.
Yeah, some guys don't even shoot.
Brad's like,
from the free throw line.
Brad did not like the 77 test score. Is that not how you felt?
I don't know.
How'd you do academically in college, Brad? Did you do well?
In college or in high school?
In college.
This is the same guy that said that he couldn't screw the light.
Right.
I learned that, but I overcame that. I overcame that difficulty, that challenge that I had. But as far as school, I mean, I was up and down. I was up and down.
Well, you guys are D1 athletes, right? Someone does your homework for you, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
the
That's what happens
perception
at
that we all
Xavier. I don't know
have.
what happens at UC.
At
But
UC, well, I was the first academic All-American we had on the men's basketball team, and I graduated in 3 years.
And
so
the
that's
last.
Damn it.
That's my accomplishment.
Congratulations,
So,
Leonard.
thank you. I appreciate
That's
it.
awesome.
Round of applause. I appreciate
Hand
it.
clap.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
myself.
That's good. That's really good.
But I mean, I left UC and I knew how to screw the light bulb in. So
That's good. That's good.
I'm gonna guess that you probably knew how to screw in a light bulb before you went to UC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
Oh, really? You did? Wow.
I did, man.
Where'd you learn that? Was there? There wasn't YouTube back then, was there? Leonard?
Definitely wasn't, man. Growing up in inner city, man, you had the 40-watt light bulb. Those light bulbs blew out a lot, man. So you had to,
That's why in my house I have all LED lights, so I never have to screw on a light bulb. They just stay on forever.
yeah, I'm in the same boat. You can't. I mean, changing the light bulb. Could you imagine if someone today, like, oh man, I had to change the light bulb? You're like, what? You don't have LED? I mean, that's just the world we live in right now.
Man, what are you, poor? what do you mean?
I'm a macro thinker. That's the problem. You know, I'm more of a macro guy, and it gets a little bit challenging at times.
Yeah, I always tell my friends I'm really good at writing a rough draft. You know, not the final paper, tough for me, but the rough draft,
Really good, really strong,
and strong rough
real
draft.
strong rough draft. Should we get back to UC
Yeah, we can get
basketball?
back
Let's
to
go at it. So the UCF game, although it was a struggle offensively for both teams for the majority of that basketball game, a bright spot, Gary Clark, once again, 17 points, 14 rebounds, and his interview after the game, post-game, I thought was fantastic. I mean, really good leader for this team. But Gary Clark, he's continuing to play at a high level.
Yeah, Gary's solid. I mean, he's a guy who you know what you're gonna get from him night in and night out. Very consistent, very tough, very hard nosed. I mean, he's and overall just a good kid, man. I mean, he's a great kid, and he's been that way consistently for the program. I mean, he's one of those guys that you'll look back in you know years to come, and you'll say, man, he was a pleasure to watch on and off the court. I mean, he's a good kid, and I've enjoyed watching him grow up.
I've never heard anybody say one thing negative about Gary Clark on or off the air. I think that says a lot about him as a person, considering he's been here for 4 years as well. So Gary Clark, once again, he's going to be the guy that if UC is going to go where they want to go, he has to continue to be Mr. Consistent like he has been. So Cincinnati's resume starting to round out. They're still in the top 15. They have big wins, right? We got Buffalo at UCLA, Mississippi State, the SMU win by 20. They'll get some chances with Wichita State. Now, my issues with this team right now is their bench production. When you look at Nasir Brooks and Trey Scott, just 3 points, 3 rebounds per game is what they've been averaging. Trevor Moore has just 3 threes in conference, and Keith Williams is kind of struggling all across the board. That bench, where are they going to get more bench production from? Because one of those guys has to step up and give them more. I mean, which one do you think will be able to step up for the Bearcats?
I mean, it's got to be by committee. I mean, all those guys that you named have to contribute a little more, especially Nas and Trey. I mean, I thought coming into the season, Nas looked really good preseason, had a great summer. I was expecting a little more out of him.
What do you think that is? Is that confidence? What is it?
I think it's a confidence thing. I think he's just got to play. I think he gets out there, he catches the ball. He doesn't look to really score. You know, he looks to pass more than pass first and score. I mean, he's a big guy. He's a big kid. I think. You know, coming in, man, I saw him this summer. I saw him preseason. I said, man, I think this guy's got a shot. But, I mean, he's got to continue to get better. Trey, the same way. Trey's a high-energy guy, comes in off the bench. He's got to give more production. And the 2 freshman guys are freshmen, so you just kind of expect that from them. I think Trevor will step up a little more as conference play goes on, and I think he'll make some shots. Keith, it'll be a little tougher for him off the bounce, especially when you get in conference play. I mean, guys know your tendencies. They have, time to study. But, I mean, by committee, I think those guys have to do a better job if we're going to make a push in the tournament. I think the one good thing that we do have, and ironically, I spoke with Coach Huggs yesterday for a while, and we talked about his 2 losses back-to-back that they had. I mean, they're in an extremely tough conference in the Big 12. And those guys are going to all beat up on each other. It's the same thing with the Big East. So I think if we can continue to not beat ourselves in our conference, I think we'll kind of fly under the radar and kind of continue to climb.
Oh, I think so for sure. I think the only losses that it's really accepted, that's okay, is Wichita State.
Correct.
Right? You're allowed to lose them. That's okay.
Yeah.
No one's going to, beat you up. Anyone else you guys should beat.
Yeah, but, I mean, that goes back to our bench production on the road. I mean, we're going to have some games where we're tested on the road, and, we've just got to persevere and push through. But that those 4 guys that Brad named have to, those guys have to step up if we're going to make a push in the tournament, I think.
Well, because you got the great nucleus, right? You got the 4 guys that are all in double figures. if Cumberland to me is the guy. If he's scoring 15 points in a game, that's a great night for UC. It's when Cumberland struggles a little bit, and one out of those 4 guys struggles against a really good team, they're going to have some challenges. That's where they need that bench production to really step up. But between Washington and Clark, the bigs, they're both fantastic. And then you have Evans and Cumberland on the perimeter. You need those other guys to start playing. Kane Brum, Justin Jennifer, they're continuing to go back and forth. Justin Jennifer against UCF, he had 0 points, 1 assist. Kane Brum, he's averaging his last couple games under 5 a game, not passing the ball that well either. And now he's coming back from an ankle injury. But the biggest question for UC, I think, especially when you look at them offensively, is outside of that nucleus of 4, who's going to be able to step up in a big moment against Wichita State or moving forward in the tournament? Is Trevor Moore going to hit 3 threes in a game that takes him over the top? Is Nasir Brooks going to have a game he has 10 points, 7 rebounds in a big moment? You know what you're going to get out of those 4, but those guys that aren't talked about in the locker room from that opposing coach, and they're going to have opportunities because they're not as focused on when they come into the game, they have to take advantage of that moving forward.
Yeah, I think if we can get 10 to 18 points of production from our bench guys, I think that helps us out tremendously.
That's perfect. You get 20 points, 10 rebounds out of that bench. I mean, that makes UC a much scarier team than what they already are. And if they can get a little bit better offensive tempo, they're going to be just fine. They're going to be just fine. I'm not concerned at all with the Bearcats. I think they're in a great position moving forward.
I've got a 2-part question for Leonard.
Go ahead, Greg.
Part 1, Leonard. What does this name mean to you? Diego Guevara.
Diego Guevara. I mean, that guy was
Charlotte 49ers.
Yeah, I definitely know the name. I mean, I was a freshman when he was there, so I just remember. So I was a UC fan before I actually got there, so I remember this guy blowing kisses to his wife.
That's what I was. That was the most annoying thing in the world. I remember watching UC games back in the day, and every time he'd hit a 3, he'd blow a kiss to his girlfriend.
You're looking like, man, what's wrong with this guy? But I mean, this guy, his girlfriend was actually on the road when they played us. I mean, he's blowing kisses to him.
Number 2. Was there anybody that you played against that? Was there one player that just always got the best of you?
No one really got. Well, actually, one person got the best of me, and that was DeJuan Wagner.
Really?
DeJuan Wagner had 27 points, and that was
just in your face.
I mean, the thing about him was he was so explosive, and he shot the ball every time. I mean, it was just tough to. He was just tough.
Did he play for Memphis?
Played for Memphis. I
Okay.
mean, he scored 100 points in a high school game.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, Camden, New Jersey. I mean, he was.
Is this the ball style though? Did he shoot 200 times, or how does it work?
I mean, he was that good. I mean, he was really. I mean, Cavaliers drafted him. I mean, I don't know. I think he may have went first or second in the draft. I mean, he was that good. But I mean, he was just tough to guard. He was 6'2", extremely quick first step. But I mean, he had the ultimate green light. And guys who can just shoot the ball at any given time with the most supreme confidence, I mean, they're tough to stop. But other than him, no one really scored in that. You know, guys would get 17, 16. I mean, even Dwayne Wade never went off on us for that much. But
right.
He was a guy who was the same size, my size.
He went off against Kentucky. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he had triple-double, I think, right?
God. I've never been so demoralized in my life.
It's all right.
Yeah, so but, I mean, he was that guy. But, I mean, we had some battles. I mean, we played the UCLA game, Jason Capono, Matt Barnes. I mean, Jason Capono, I held scoreless in regulation in that UCLA game. Everyone talks about my 39, 10-5 or whatever, and I'm like, the defensive end, I held this guy first team.
Yeah, well, Leonard, see, no one cares about defense. You know, I've always had the offensive mindset. You know, no one watches defense. That's not how I got the girls in the crowd excited.
Yeah.
All right, it was by hitting a deep 3 ball.
Listen, man, you playing for Huggins. You playing for Hugs. Defense matters, man. So you got to. So I mean, I held the guy. I'm like, man, I'm on this end, giving him all on the other end. But I mean, that was just how we were wired. But to answer the question, it was definitely DeJuan Wagner.
See, that's why I always liked Adam Morrison. That was his thing. That was his statement. Playing good defense means scoring more points than the guy you're guarding. It was great.
Yeah, during the minutes that you're in. So say you play 20 minutes, some guy plays 30 minutes, he has 30, you have 20, but he only scored 18 in the 20 minutes you had. You +2. If everybody else did that, you'd win by 16, 18 points.
Greg, can you look up on that fancy computer where Adam Morrison is right now?
Adam Morrison.
Where is Adam Morrison?
He was
Starbucks.
Where is
Starbucks in Seattle right now.
He's starting a podcast about
Actually,
Gonzaga.
I saw him on Columbia Parkway.
Damn.
He was cooking me up a caramel macchiato.
Man.
Last team he played for was the Clippers in 2009.
Isn't he
2010?
I thought I saw him on the bench for Gonzaga.
He used to
recently.
play for the Lakers, and I just remember
How good he
I was
was?
big. Yeah, well, in the summer league, crush it. Dude, you go like 38 and 9, and all these crush it, and then like as soon as the season started, not even. He's just that dude at the end.
Yeah, that's
Good
usually
job.
what happens when Kobe's
Good
on the
job,
team.
Kobe.
When you play the same
Good
position.
job, Kobe.
He must have really fell out because I just typed in Adam Morrison and searched it for the past month if any articles have come up, and it brings up a goalie named Adam Morrison. So he has fell off big time.
Do you think that the Mamba ever had a conversation with Adam Morrison about like his lack of like work ethic? I would just love to have seen him and Adam Morrison in the locker room, just the two of them, just having conversation.
What do you think they talked about?
Like I have no idea.
His
Probably about
mustache?
about his
The
stash.
stash, definitely the stash.
He cut it.
The stash and the haircut.
I
The
think
stash
he.
and
I
the
think he
haircut.
did cut his
man.
hair recently, though.
Did he?
I think he did.
Well, at some point, as I know, we're not at, but sometimes it
Yeah.
goes.
I think he
Sometimes
cut his
the
hair
goes.
after he sobbed on the court when he lost in the NCAA
the
tournament.
picture I'm seeing right now is he should be. He looks like he should be a Burning Man. Like he is. His hair is down to his
Can
shoulders.
you turn it?
He looks like he's
Can
a
you-
character in Game of Thrones right here.
Is that
We'll
bad?
put it- oh, it looks like he.
Is this a recent picture?
Yeah, this is posted recently, and it's like it says Adam Morrison signs deal
He
with
looks
Portland
bad.
Trailblazers.
He looks bad. Looks bad. We'll put the picture up. So,
You
yeah,
guys are hysterical.
Yeah, I guess it. 1-year deal for league minimum.
What was that? When was that?
It said this is recently. It said for Portland.
See, he's still in the league.
Wow.
He still got it. He still got it.
It's like Ryan Leaf returning to quarterback the Detroit Lions.
Well,
Leaf
Ryan Leaf had some. He had some other issues.
I mean, you know, he's like he's a mentor and an advocate now. He actually looks out for other people.
His
heard a
his letter
recent
was
interview.
incredible. Did you read that?
Yeah, I didn't read it.
That makes a lot of sense.
I did hear about it though. Every time we do Lacing Up with Leonard, at least the last 2 times, we get way off.
We
the
just need to
UC
start
topic.
sitting on the leather couches instead of
Hey,
this.
man,
Like,
you just got to give the world what they want.
Yeah, we need to lace up with Leonard on the leather. We might need to do leather couches next time. I think that's what we
Yeah.
might do. Make it a little bit more comfortable. Maybe put our feet up on the
Yeah.
ottoman.
Leonard, can you play the drums?
We got a drum set.
We got a
right
drum
there.
set over there now, so we got a lot of options in this building.
Who's the most famous? I got a question
Where
for
is it?
you.
Where are
To
you
go all the
going?
way off topic, then we'll get back to basketball.
No,
You just asked if I
I
could
think
play
we're
the
pretty
drums.
much gonna wrap up after this.
Who is the most famous African American drummer ever?
Most famous?
I like
The Roots.
somebody on the Black Keys, maybe.
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
go with Max Roach.
Is that what Google tells
Did
you?
you just Google that in?
Yeah, he was born in 1927.
What did you type into Google?
Well, now
Black
that's-
drummer.
Yeah. I said most famous black drummer.
Man, I'm gonna give you this H&M hoodie.
You can't tell me to. You can't
This
ask
is
me a
taking an
question.
awful turn.
So to answer your question,
Sorry, go ahead.
hell no. I
Yeah, we
cannot
still
play-
want the
I cannot-
answer.
I cannot play the drums at all. Nothing. I
So
have
is
no-
Max Roach the most famous?
I
That's
don't know who Max.
Or was
Roach
I
is.
correct?
I gotta look up.
Prince
It
is-
was the Roots. What's his name though? The Roots, the drummer.
Oh, he's awesome. With,
yeah,
he's really good.
yeah.
He's on Jimmy Fallon's show all the time. I can't think of his
yeah.
name.
Is it Questlove? No. Questlove?
Is Questlove the drummer?
Questlove. Yeah.
Yeah. Prince is number 4.
Did Prince play the drums?
According to
Apparently, Prince played everything.
Prince played
He
every
could
instrument.
everything.
Prince had a lot of talents.
yeah.
Lots of
Ping pong was one of them. Apparently, he was awesome at ping pong.
All right, take it easy.
Prince was
Jeez,
the,
man.
Prince was, the,
Gosh.
Prince was the Greek freak of music. He played every instrument. Like the Greek freak plays every position. That guy's
That's a
pretty
good
talented.
comparison. I would love if anyone compared me to Prince ever, I'd be stoked.
Really?
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
I mean, do you try to embody Prince? On a
Not
daily-
really.
I'm just like,
I'm just
confused,
saying,
like-
if someone ever said that you what you do for a living, you are the Prince of, I would be flattered.
Given plays
all right.
Given plays
I
Purple
just-
Rain in the shower every day.
You're just like the last person that I would think would want to be compared to Prince.
He's an icon
like-
and a legend. What are you talking about?
You could be a bank robber, which is what Greg is dressed like right now.
It's much.
And then we got Prince in the bank.
It's much more. It's much more lucrative than podcasts.
God. You guys look like the burglars in Home Alone right now.
The younger version.
Yeah.
I hope.
You guys look like Harry and Marv.
The Wet Bandits.
Yeah.
We need to stop this.
All right, we need to. Leonard, do you have another question for us before we get out of here?
Just, go Bearcats. My Cats are number 1 in the conference right now.
Number one.
Who do we got
Number
next?
one.
Who's next?
They play East
Saturday,
Carolina.
East Carolina.
8-10,
Saturday.
2-5 in the American at 4:00 at BeDFRNT Arena.
It's gonna be a tough one.
Easy.
That's his
Easy there,
I was
Marv.
gonna say
He does that every.
you're
Leonard,
not
don't let
here-
him do that.
when
He
you're not
always-
here-
Hey, man,
he does this, and I don't know what to say because I'm like, why are you doing that?
every single time.
And he just
every
looks
time.
at me with that awkward smile, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
My Cats are winning. So, you get hate, man. You know how it goes.
I
Man.
mean, hate mail comes all the time.
It is funny though. He always has like 1 or 2 digs.
You
unless
always
you're here.
dig, like,
and then
real
if he's
quick
here, it's-
dig.
I think
I
it's a
just-
sign of respect
It is.
or
It's me.
or fear.
It's a
The
big.
guy's not fearing anyone with that outfit on. Man. I'm telling you, guys got to bring truck. He's got to bring truck. He's got to go.
That's just because Greg has no conscience at all.
I have a great conscience.
Conscienceless.
gonna bring Struck. He's gonna go get.
Guys, that was it. Lacing up with Leonard. Next time we're gonna have to take it to the couches. But that was fantastic, Leonard. We appreciate all of your insight, Greg and Nick.
Stay
And
tuned.
that's-
For,
yeah,
stay
stay-
tuned for the website and stay tuned for. We got some pretty cool guests coming on next
We got
couple
some
weeks.
great guests coming on. We will disclose some next week. I'm not going to disclose this week yet. But we have a
tuned.
handful that will be on. Some will be via phone. Some will be in person. But we're looking forward to bringing on a lot of people for our unplugged interview series. So we'll bring it back next week. That is for Brad Redford, Leonard Stokes, Greg Wichard, and Nick Given.
Maybe I'll play the drums next week.
We'll
There
play
you
the
go.
drums. We'll get Leonard on the podcast. That's Lacing It Up with Leonard.
Thanks, Leonard.